According to www.ed.gov/NCLB, the U.S. Department of Education's website, in our nation in 2001, only 14% of fourth graders could read at grade level and only 17% of high school seniors were proficient in math. This blatant failing of our education system is important to me because as a future teacher, I want to see my students succeed. Now, I've researched this topic to further my education, and I've also worked with other teachers as well, seeing on the front lines exactly how this No Child Left Behind has been implemented. Now, why should this be important to you? Most of you have children, and you have the same passion to see them succeed as I do. And these students who are not performing at grade level are one day going to enter the workforce, and they're going to be coworkers and employees. And if they don't have the basic skills needed, they're not going to be able to perform their job. So today I want to inform you about how No Child Left Behind has bridged the gap in the American education system by explaining three main goals that the law has implemented in our nation's schools. As further detailed in the website I mentioned before, No Child Left Behind was initiated in 2001 by the Bush administration to meet the public call for accountability in education and sets forth to keep our nation's education system competitive worldwide, close the achievement gap between students, and ensure teacher and school quality. So let's begin by looking at No Child Left Behind's first goal. The first goal is to bring all students to proficiency by the year 2013-2014, and this allows America's youth to remain competitive worldwide and keep our industry and business technology on the same level as other competing nations. Now, this proficiency is marked by tests at the 4th and 8th grade levels. What is proficiency? Basically, it's determined by meeting a certain grade standard per state set standards. So how can we make these tests on 4th and 8th grade levels fair nationwide? Right now, they're set at state levels, where the states put the tests together, so there's no national standard. According to Connie Carter Randolph, a veteran teacher of 25 years, teachers need to start focusing on the basics and get them solidly founded in the students. Instead of focusing on art and music and PE, which are important, they need to focus on putting math, reading, and writing as a solid foundation first. And less time needs to be spent on student behavior and more, to allow more time to teach the basics. So the question arises that if that's the main goal, how can it be met? And the main goal is met in the second goal, basically, by mandating that non-English speaking students must reach the same 2013-2014 proficiency goal. The goal is to bridge the gap between students. Now, in order to do that with these non-English speaking students, they need to learn the language first before they can learn anything else. In some areas, tutors and class aides have been added to the class to bring this language proficiency up, but a lot of places can't afford it, and basically the task remains on the teacher. So besides getting these students to learn the language, other cultural differences must be overcome as well. A lot of their traditions are kind of laughed at, and a wall comes up between these students and the classrooms because of some of their traditions, holidays, and beliefs. By government enforcing states to set standardized tests that allow students to have the same testing levels, that also bridges the gap between students. According to Joseph DiMartino in Accountability or Mastery, no national standard is required, but states determine for themselves what their standard test encompasses. Many states have incorporated even more detailed proficiency levels beyond the 4th and 8th grade, which allows parents, teachers, and students to know exactly where they're failing and where they need some help. And by allowing students at failing schools to have a choice between remaining at that school or going to a performing school, the gap between poverty students and wealthy students is lessened. So not only by evening the playing field for students does No Child Left Behind seek to improve the education system, but on focusing on teacher and school performance, this law cuts at the heart of what's wrong in schools today. The accountability is the third goal of No Child Left Behind, and it sets forth to weed out the underperforming teachers in the failing schools. Part 1 of this goal, according to Clive Beck and Innovations in Teacher Education, is to ensure that all teachers meet state requirements of licensure and continue to educate themselves so they don't become stagnant or outdated. And by having these high expectations and requirements of teachers, schools and states have a better probability of hiring performing teachers that teach students as they should. And then by mandating teachers to continue to receive education, basically it allows teachers to grow with the students and to develop their teaching methods. This third goal also sets forth that each school will be evaluated yearly by standardized test scores to evaluate performance. So basically a pass-fail system. If the school passes, then they're fine, they receive their government funding, but if they fail, the first year they're put on probation, And after that, if they continue to fail, according to Vince Russ and Michael Reynolds in the Handbook of Experiential Learning and Management Education, they will lose their government funding and continue down the path. They'll lose their students, and all sorts of different things will happen until that school is no longer able to function. So in seeking to keep accountability to focus, No Child Left Behind is trying to address the public's outcry for change in education, as well as allowing for all goals to be met in the future. So in conclusion, the 3 goals of No Child Left Behind seek to meet our nation's education needs by keeping students competitive on a worldwide stage, by bringing the margins closer between poverty and wealth students, and by bringing accountability to teachers and schools. One day our nation will either fade into the background of the world, or we will advance and stay on top. The direction we take today will determine which outcome becomes our new reality.
Good. Encore, encore.